So I wanted to talk a little bit about the online dating escapades
Okay.
of the past couple of weeks, and not specifically about the dates or the girls. More just that you've sort of seen my game on display, like kind of
Yep.
up close and personal. So I know one of the things that I've talked about is just sort of being treating Hinge like, or whatever dating app, but I prefer Hinge, treating it like sort of a virtual room where you're approaching people, right? You're making an impact and then making that interaction make sense.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm never one to shy away from putting out a proper opener, which I always recommend. I always recommend being creative about how you're reaching out so that it's not just hey or a swipe.
hmm
Um, but one thing that I've noticed that you've also learned to notice is that girls just don't have their notifications on for these apps.
Yeah. Or you can assume they don't.
Or you could safely assume that they don't. I'm not saying every single girl does, but a lot of them do. And the basic reason is just they're getting bombarded. They're getting
hmm
any of my female friends that I talk to, my sister, and even the girls who I go on the dates with, who I will like playfully talk about this specific video topic with, um, is that the nature of these apps is the girl gets courted, the guy courts. So the guy is on there swiping, hoping that there's a girl that likes him, and the girl is coming back to her inbox of hundreds of guys who have liked her that day, and then she's picking from the cream of the crop. That's pretty much it.
So it's like layer two swiping.
It's layer two swiping.
Yeah.
So that's actually a great term. We should probably coin that.
Mm.
But basically, you've seen me this week. I just go right for the text conversation, and it works pretty much every time. And the move is once it takes her 3 days to match with you, or 2 days to get back to you, or even I don't know 24 hours, like where it's just very very clear that she just hasn't gotten a notification and she's now just kind of checking back with the app. Um, Tell her that you know that, but that you'd like to get to know her a little bit better. So here's my number. Text me.
hmm
And again, we've got the receipts. You're the receipts for now, but pretty much, I mean, you can attest to this. Most of the conversations that I've had with the girls that I've gone on dates with on Hinge has been opener. She likes me back or responds a day plus later, and then I go um, something along the lines of like, hey, seeing as you like texted me, seeing as it took you like 24 hours to get back to me, I think it's pretty safe to assume you have your notifications off, but you're very beautiful. I like your profile, and I'd love to get to know you a little bit better. Here's my number. Text me so we can get a little bit more continuous conversation, some variation of that.
hmm
Um, and most girls get back to me. Um, so I always try to tell guys who come to me for this type of advice, the girls don't want to be on the apps either. So the biggest tip that I can give you after, actually putting in a little bit of effort into the original reach out is to get her off of the app. And it's not just because one, you know that she wants to, but it's also because a lot of guys aren't doing that. And by doing that, you're putting yourself in a position of differentiation against these other guys because now you're the guy who she's actually getting notified by.
hmm
And that just elevates you. It gives you an opportunity to now go ahead and pursue the date, which is something that we've also talked about in past conversations and how to sort of manipulate um, and traverse those waters. Um, but I know, but like I said, you've kind of seen this on full display at this point. It's not that hard to tell a girl your notifications are off. I get it, but I'd love for you to text me so I can get to know you. Most of them will get back to you.
Yeah. And it's almost like when you're on the app, whichever app you use, when you're in the app, you're like playing the game.
Hmm.
When you're just getting a text, that's just a contact, a friend, a family member who's texting you.
Yeah.
So you want to unplug from the game as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and just be be the fish out of water, so to speak. If there's a lot of fish in the sea,
Mhm.
you want to be the one that jumped out and is now actually looking her right in the eye, right? So,
Mhm.
um, and again, this video is not meant to get into the specifics of your own game and authenticity and the pursuit of the date, things like that. We have videos like that people can check out, and we're going to do more of them. But I think the biggest thing, and the thing that gets you probably more than halfway to that date with that girl, is just getting on her radar in a way that other guys aren't. And the easiest way to do that is to just be like, your notifications are off. I get it. Here, text me. Because then it's not like you're having to look for this smooth opening to ask for her number either. Because again, putting the ball in her court to be like, hey, if you're comfortable, text me,
Mhm.
takes away from, listen, it took you 24 hours to get back to me. Can I just have your number so I can text you?
Yeah.
Very, very different vibe. So specifically giving her yours as well. Um, it's not like you're continuing the conversation.
Mhm.
You're not. It's not like you have to like talk to her at a party, talk to her at a party, talk to her at a party, and then be like, okay, now that we've talked for a little while, like, do you want to give me my number? We can or your number. You can hang out. Um, no, just put it in her court.
That
Let her
is
go with it.
interesting what you just said, because it's like if I think back to my college days, if you just walked up to someone like, "Hey, like, I think you're attractive. If you think I'm attractive, like, let's exchange numbers." They'd be like, "What? Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing?"
Well, exactly. And again, we also have a video that we did before that we'll probably redo, about treating Hinge like the virtual party that it is. No, you don't just walk up and say, "You're hot. Can I have your number?" You don't.
Yeah.
You also don't necessarily walk up to somebody and say, "Here's my number." Um, but if you frame it in the way that I talk about, which is, we're never going to be able to get a conversation going here, but I'd love to get to know you. Text me so that we can start doing that.
Mhm.
That is the step in the right direction. It's hands off. It's, hey, you're living your life. I understand notifications are off. It doesn't surprise me. And I'm not going to be coming back here routinely just to chat with you. If you'd like to continue getting to know me, here's my number. Let's have a little bit of a talk. It's simple. It's comforting. It allows her to make her own choice. And then more often than not, I would say they do make that choice. And because don't get me wrong, some girls might see it as a little bit like, oh, this is just some fuck boy who's just like trying to get numbers from, right. But if you just frame it the right way, they'll feel comfortable reaching out to you. And a lot of the girls that reach out to me anyway are usually like, oh my god, you're so right. I do not have my notifications. I hate that app.
Mhm.
And it's like, all right, yeah, like, you definitely don't hate the app, but you definitely don't like talking to dudes on it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and the other thing I notice you've done is you're really good at taking what little they give you in their profile and putting that into your message. It's not. It's like, yeah, notice you don't have your notifications on. Like, I don't either. But since Disney Princess, blah blah blah, and like other things like I couldn't even think of.
oh, well, it's yeah, I can't even think of one off the top of my head, but it would be something along the lines, like, so let's say a girl has like a super basic profile and it's like, the way to win me over is tacos.
Hmm.
I would say something like, here's my number, text me, and we can start figuring out exactly which taco is going to win you over.
Yeah,
Something like that, where it's clear that it's not just like copy paste.
yeah.
It's more, here's a message, but here's the thing that shows
Well,
me.
I think that's the real winner because it's like, sure, you're asking for the number sooner rather than later, but again, you're adding that extra layer where it's like, oh, like we could check out which is the best taco, and it's like
Yes,
now she's like, oh, like
he
this is
ca-
more than everyone
he
else.
cares about who I am, which is
Yes.
tacos.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and that goes back to just what I've talked about in the past with texting, which is take the opportunity to deliver it as perfectly as possible, right?
Hmm.
Um, and this is something that, as we continue to talk about this stuff, we'll get deeper and deeper into game and specificity and how you can kind of work your own stuff in there. But at the end of the day, um, whatever they give you to work with, prove to them that even on a dating app, even if it's just tacos, you're more than just your looks and tacos. And
Yeah.
if you just add that little bit in, they will respond appropriately. And like I said, once you get that text conversation going, all bets are off. You can actually start pursuing that first date.
All right.
Yep.
Cool.